Hello friends. Let's talk about one of the rarest and most electrifying personality combinations in the zodiac, Aries, born in the year of the pig. What happens when the cosmic fire of Aries meets the earthy warmth and secret sensuality of the pig? You get a person who charges into life with relentless energy and a soft heart that hides behind their daring smile. It's a paradox you didn't expect, and one you'll never forget. These people are magnets. You'll either be completely drawn in or totally overwhelmed. There's rarely any middle ground. Let's dive deep into their world: love, marriage, sex, friendship, business, even their darker shadows, and explore what truly drives this compelling mix of fire and flesh. Love, the passionate warrior with a gentle touch. In love, the Aries pig doesn't merely flirt, they ignite. They walk into a room and people turn to look, sensing something magnetic in the way they carry themselves. This isn't accidental. They exude a natural confidence that demands attention, but it's not just surface-level charm. The Aries fire gives them boldness and initiative, while the pig's warm, emotionally driven nature adds sincerity to their moves. They're not chasing validation, they're seeking resonance. They want a spark that leads somewhere deep. The way they look at a potential partner feels like they already know how the story ends, with passion, devotion, and shared glory. They're the bold initiator and the soft-hearted believer rolled into one complex, alluring force. Their flirting isn't cheap or careless, it's charged with meaning. Every compliment is deliberate, every touch is electric. They will find clever ways to test your vibe, maybe a witty debate, a loaded question, or a playful challenge. They want to see how you think, how you feel, and whether you're emotionally available. And if they sense even a flicker of genuine emotional intelligence, you've just unlocked level 2. An Aries pig doesn't wait for love to happen, they chase it down with full momentum. They're famous for falling quickly and dramatically, crafting romantic moments like scenes out of a novel. They'll plan a rooftop dinner 3 days into meeting you, or confess feelings in the middle of a spontaneous road trip. It might seem impulsive, but it's not for show, it's real. The pig's deep heart doesn't fake intimacy. They're emotional risk-takers, willing to expose their vulnerability early on because they believe in love's transformative power. And when they commit, they mean it. Every "I love you" is delivered with full emotional investment. But their intensity isn't always easy to receive. Their emotional volume can overwhelm quieter or more cautious partners. They expect full reciprocity, not just words, but matching emotional depth. If their partner isn't as expressive, enthusiastic, or available, the Aries pig will internalize that as rejection, even if it's not intended that way. This creates moments of misunderstanding, where they may pull away abruptly, trying to protect their ego while feeling completely misunderstood. This mismatch between their expectations and reality is where their heart breaks, not loudly, but quietly, in the places no one sees. When heartbreak happens, the Aries pig doesn't fall apart in public. They'll keep moving, keep shining, keep pretending. But inside, they're revising the story, rewriting the lessons, and rebuilding themselves. Love may wound them, but it never ruins them. The Aries part will charge ahead, refusing to be defined by pain, while the pig processes the emotion privately, in their own time. And in the end, the scars become symbols of wisdom. Each failed love adds a chapter to their personal legend, stories they carry not with bitterness, but with hard-won understanding. Still, they never give up on love. Even after disappointment, they continue to believe, stubbornly, beautifully, that the next person might be the one. That hope is what keeps them alive romantically. They might become more selective, more cautious with their heart, but they never lose their belief in the magic of connection. The Aries pig is eternally romantic, eternally brave, and eternally hopeful. They know love hurts, but they also know, more than most, that it heals, transforms, and gives life its richest meaning. Marriage, the myth of settling down. Being married to an Aries pig is like living inside an ever-changing novel, one filled with plot twists, passion arcs, and emotional monologues that can turn mundane Tuesdays into unforgettable moments. This isn't a spouse who coasts through routine. This is someone who reinvents love constantly. Marriage, for them, is not the end goal. It's the beginning of a lifelong adventure, a commitment to grow together and rewrite the story as many times as needed. While others see marriage as a peaceful settling, they see it as a creative partnership, where love is expressed through action, reinvention, and a shared hunger for more. Traditional notions of domestic life don't sit comfortably with them. They're not content with checking boxes: nice house, 2 kids, stable jobs. That sounds like prison to an Aries pig. They need movement, not necessarily physical, but energetic. Whether it's redecorating the house every season, moving to a different city, or starting joint side hustles, they crave the thrill of shared progress. This doesn't mean they can't be loyal or consistent, quite the opposite. They're deeply loyal, but only when they feel emotionally and intellectually stimulated. Settling down isn't about slowing down. It's about choosing a partner who wants to keep growing with them. They bring their whole selves into marriage, and that includes their fire. This is not a passive partner. An Aries pig will challenge their spouse often, but not out of malice. It's because they care. Conflict, for them, is not something to be feared but something to use. They argue because they're invested. They raise their voice because they want to be heard, not because they're trying to dominate. The pig side adds a layer of emotional richness to every disagreement. What might seem like a minor misunderstanding to others can feel deeply personal to them. They need a partner who won't just tolerate that intensity but will meet it head-on with compassion and honesty. Letting them win isn't about stroking their ego, it's about honoring the dual nature of their soul. The Aries in them needs to feel respected, competent, and autonomous. The pig in them needs to feel emotionally safe, seen, and accepted. If a partner can understand this delicate balance, arguments become less about winning and more about reconnecting. Aries pigs thrive in relationships where they can stand tall without overshadowing their partner, where mutual power, passion, and vulnerability are always in play. A relationship with them works best when it feels like a dialogue, not a debate, even when voices rise. As parents, Aries pigs are unforgettable. They bring magic into the mundane. Breakfast can turn into a performance. Bedtime stories become epic tales with sound effects and wild hand gestures. They will defend their children like warriors and nurture them like poets. But discipline, structure, that's a work in progress. They might forget the lunchbox but remember every detail of their kids' dreams. Their love language as parents is encouragement. They'll constantly push their children to believe in themselves, to take chances, and to live boldly, mirroring their own approach to life. But they may need their co-parent to help with grounding, rules, and follow-through. Marriage, for them, is sacred, but not static. It's not a box to check off. It's a canvas. Aries pigs believe love should evolve, deepen, and transform just as people do. They resist the idea that long-term love must be routine or comfortable. Comfort, to them, often feels like complacency. They don't want a quiet, conflict-free marriage. They want a vibrant, living union that breathes, breaks, and rebuilds stronger. For the Aries pig, marriage is not about settling down. It's about rising up, together. Building a life where passion doesn't fade but finds new forms. Where romance isn't a phase, but a way of being. And where 2 people don't just share a home, they share a fire. Sex, a collision of desire and devotion. For the Aries pig, sex is never just physical. It's a full body, full heart, full spirit immersion. It's how they explore connection, express affection, and channel their restless, electrified inner world. The Aries side brings heat, fast, raw, unapologetic desire. The pig, on the other hand, brings slow-burning sensuality, an appreciation for touch, scent, mood, and presence. Together, these 2 archetypes don't create average lovers, they create unforgettable ones. Passionate, attentive, imaginative, and daring, they treat sex not as an act, but as an experience. Each encounter is its own story, and they intend to make it epic. They don't just want sex, they want significance in it. Even casual intimacy feels purposeful to them, and if love is involved, the emotional depth transforms everything. They view the bedroom as sacred ground, a place where roles dissolve and truths are revealed. Eye contact matters. Timing matters. The rhythm between partners becomes almost musical. The Aries in them wants to lead, to take control and impress. The pig wants to listen, to feel, to surrender and be fully immersed. This creates a rare balance of dominance and softness that few other zodiac combinations can naturally hold. An Aries pig is a highly physical lover, but their version of physical isn't one-note or mechanical, it's intuitive. They pick up on moods, gestures, energy shifts. They love discovering what turns their partner on, not just because they want to please, but because they genuinely enjoy learning the language of someone else's body. Anticipation is part of the dance. They'll tease, pause, change tempo, not out of manipulation, but mastery. Their goal isn't just orgasm, it's impact. They want to leave fingerprints on your soul, not just your skin. After all, to them, intimacy is emotional theater. It should linger, echo, haunt, in the best way possible. Though they carry a flirtatious energy, often drawing attention with their confidence and charm, Aries pigs are not promiscuous in the traditional sense. Once they've chosen someone, they tend to commit intensely, almost possessively. Their loyalty stems from the pig's emotional core. Once they feel safe and truly connected, they lose interest in external temptation. That said, they do need variety within the relationship. Emotional novelty, surprise, and shared fantasies keep the fire alive. If things grow stale or one-sided, their passion can dim. Not because they're unfaithful by nature, but because they feel unrecognized. For them, loyalty is tied to stimulation, mental, emotional, physical. Beneath their confident exterior lies surprising vulnerability. They might initiate with boldness, but what they're really seeking is surrender, not control. True intimacy, to them, is about letting their guard down without fear. When they trust you enough to be fully themselves, playful, intense, even emotionally naked, that's when they're at their most powerful and most tender. They crave partners who can handle their emotional layers, not just their sexual fire. Because once they open up, they don't hold back. They offer everything, their fantasies, their fears, their full attention. That depth is rare, and they know it. They don't give it lightly. Their sexual identity is an extension of how they love, fiercely, creatively, with rhythm and rawness. It's never routine. They believe in keeping things alive, lighting candles for no reason, whispering new ideas in the middle of the day, stealing kisses in public. They love with urgency but not carelessness. They touch with intention, and they make their partner feel like the center of a universe lit by fire and bathed in moonlight. With the Aries pig, sex is where power meets poetry. It's where desire meets devotion. And it's where the real story begins, every single time. Friendship. Fiercely loyal, quietly discerning. Being friends with an Aries pig means stepping into a dynamic, high-energy relationship that feels both like a motivational seminar and a sacred oath. They're the type of friend who shows up, physically, emotionally, financially if needed. If you're down, they'll pick you up. If you're thriving, they'll be the loudest one cheering from the front row. They don't do lukewarm loyalty. If they care about you, it's all in, no hesitation. They're your crisis hotline, your adventure buddy, your late-night truth teller. Their friendship isn't just support, it's an active, living force that fights for you even when you're too tired to fight for yourself. They naturally attract people, their charisma is electric and their humor often disarms even the coldest personalities. But make no mistake, while they might have a wide social circle, very few make it past the velvet rope into their real inner circle. That's because Aries pigs crave emotional substance. They're not interested in shallow hangouts or friends who only show up for the good times. They want connections that are meaningful, mutual, and built on trust. To them, friendship is a form of chosen family, and they take that bond seriously. If you're not authentic, consistent, and emotionally present, they'll keep things polite, but distant. Conversation with them is never dull. They bring intensity to even the most casual chats. One moment you're joking about takeout, the next you're talking about your childhood trauma or your 5-year plan. This isn't accidental. Aries pigs are always assessing depth. They want to know what drives you, scares you, and excites you. If you're willing to go deep, they'll open up in return. They love friends who push their thinking, challenge their choices with love, and mirror their own emotional growth. Stagnant friendships fade fast. They respect transformation and want to witness yours as much as they want to live out theirs. Leadership in social groups tends to fall to them, even when they don't seek it. There's something magnetic about the way they move, speak, and decide. But unlike more ego-driven personalities, they don't dominate for the sake of power. The Aries fire gives them initiative, but the pig makes them empathetic. They're the rare leader who lifts with you, not above you. They'll organize your birthday party, help edit your resume, and call you out if you're self-sabotaging, not because they need credit, but because they care. And they quietly expect the same level of effort in return. Not perfection, but presence. Betrayal cuts them to the bone, and there are no do-overs. If you lie, cheat, gossip, or show your loyalty is conditional, they'll shut the door and never look back. And what's worse, you may never even see the storm coming. They won't explode or create drama, that's not the pig's style. But you'll notice the silence, the space, the sudden absence of warmth. Once trust is broken, the Aries pig doesn't need revenge. Your removal from their world is the justice. Their forgiveness has boundaries, and their self-respect always wins. They believe in second chances, but rarely in third ones. At their best, they're the friend who remembers your favorite snacks, checks in after a hard day, hypes up your business idea, and shows up when no one else does. They want to see you thrive, not because it benefits them, but because your joy fuels theirs. Friendship is sacred to them, a chosen space where truth, loyalty, and wild support collide. And if you earn their trust and keep it, you've got a lifelong ally, advocate, and emotional warrior by your side. One who will fight for your growth, celebrate your wins like their own, and never, ever let you settle for less than you deserve. Business. The bold visionary with a golden gut. Aries pigs in business are a fusion of bold ambition and intuitive wisdom, a rare breed of entrepreneur and leader who operates from both the gut and the grind. They don't sit around waiting for perfect conditions. When inspiration hits, they move fast. There's an urgency in their approach, like they're racing some invisible clock only they can hear. The Aries side gives them drive, explosive, restless, relentless. The pig adds the emotional intelligence and people awareness that makes their ambition palatable, even inspiring. They don't just build ideas, they build movements. And they tend to be 5 steps ahead of the room, even if no one else realizes it yet. They're action machines. While others brainstorm, debate, and hesitate, Aries pigs execute. Give them a spark of an idea on Monday, and by Friday it's a brand with a logo, pitch deck, and 3 interested collaborators. It's not just speed, it's clarity. Their instincts are sharp, sometimes eerily so. They don't always know how they know something is a good bet, they just do. This gut-driven decisiveness can be risky, sure, but it's often what sets them apart. In industries that reward bold moves, tech, entertainment, fashion, digital media, they thrive because they're willing to go where others won't, and they do it first. They excel in positions where both their creative fire and emotional depth are assets. This makes them natural leaders in marketing, branding, startups, content creation, event planning, and anything people-facing. They understand the pulse of the public. The Aries in them is fearless. They'll pitch, sell, or lead with energy that commands attention. The pig makes it personal. They craft messages that resonate, campaigns that feel human, and brands that tell stories. That's why they can sell almost anything. A product, an idea, even a movement. It's not manipulation, it's belief. They buy in completely, and their enthusiasm is infectious. But their strength can also be their downfall. They don't know when to turn it off. Aries pigs will burn through weeks, months, even years chasing a vision without pausing to breathe. They'll sleep 5 hours a night, skip meals, postpone personal plans, not because they're masochists, but because they care that much. They're addicted to momentum, but this obsession with progress can lead to burnout, deep, quiet, dangerous burnout that sneaks up on them. They'll deny it, power through, tell themselves they're fine, until they crash. Learning to pause without guilt is one of their greatest challenges. They don't need to stop forever, just long enough to recharge the fire. Financially, Aries pigs are complex. They love money, not for status, but for freedom. To them, success means being able to say yes to ideas, to invest in dreams theirs and others, to take risks without fear. Once they've built wealth, they rarely hoard it. The pig's generous nature kicks in hard. They'll fund a friend's art show, support a sibling's small business, donate to grassroots causes, and still pick up the check at dinner. It's not performative, it's instinctual. Success, to them, is only meaningful if it's shared. They feel a personal responsibility to lift others as they rise. And they don't expect anything back, just loyalty and authenticity. The balance of ambition and heart makes them one of the most unique types in the business world. They're dreamers with spreadsheets, hustlers with vision boards, leaders who cry during TED Talks and then close million-dollar deals before lunch. They blend fire and empathy in a way that breaks the usual mold of what a boss looks like. People follow them not because they're feared, but because they're felt. And that's the Aries pig difference. They don't just build empires. They build movements with soul. Dark sides, when fire overheats and trust breaks. Even the brightest stars cast shadows, and for Aries pigs, those shadows can be surprisingly deep. For all their energy, charisma, and emotional generosity, there's an undercurrent of volatility they struggle to control. At their core, they are passionate creatures, not just about love, work, or life, but about everything. And that passion, when turned inward or left unprocessed, becomes combustible. Emotional impulsiveness is their most dangerous fuel. They can go from warm and vibrant to cutting and cold in seconds, especially when they feel misunderstood or wounded. They don't lash out with fists, they lash out with precision words, often unaware of how deeply they've struck until the silence afterward. One of their most damaging habits is emotional self-containment. Aries pigs carry themselves as unbreakable, the leader, the protector, the one others lean on. This self-image keeps them from admitting vulnerability, even to those closest to them. They push their needs down, hide their exhaustion behind sarcasm or stoicism, and pretend everything's fine, until it's not. Eventually, the bottled-up feelings turn into emotional outbursts or dramatic withdrawals that catch others off guard. Their emotional language becomes reactive instead of reflective, and loved ones often feel blindsided by the sudden shift. They don't mean to be destructive, but when they've been silent too long, their pain comes out louder than they intended. Jealousy is another quiet vice that creeps into their psyche, not always romantically, but socially and professionally. Aries pigs crave significance. They want to be felt, to be noticed, to be admired, not in a shallow, attention-hungry way, but as a validation of their worth. When someone else gets the spotlight, they might start to feel invisible or underappreciated, even if that's not the reality. Rather than voice these insecurities, they may grow distant or passive-aggressive. They'll cheer for you in public while quietly wondering why they don't feel seen. What's worse, they know this side exists. They hate it, but owning it out loud feels like weakness, and that, to them, is unbearable. Trust doesn't come easily for the Aries pig. The pig in them has a tender, trusting soul that fears betrayal deeply. The Aries side, meanwhile, sees vulnerability as a kind of defeat, a soft spot that can be targeted. Together, these instincts create a paradox. They crave closeness but are terrified of exposure. As a result, they build emotional walls so high and sturdy that even those who love them most may never know the full truth of what's going on inside. They test people constantly, not always on purpose, to see if they're safe. If someone fails the test, even once, the wall gets taller, stronger, quieter. They are masters of internal contradiction, fiery yet guarded, expressive yet secretive, loyal yet suspicious. This constant push-pull within themselves can make relationships confusing for everyone involved, including them. They often wish they could just let go, stop overthinking, stop needing to feel so powerful and so protected all at once. But that need for control, especially emotional control, is hardwired into their system. Even when they say they're fine, look deeper. They might be afraid of seeming needy or dramatic. even though their world is full of emotional intensity. And yet, when trust is established, something beautiful happens. The walls come down, slowly but completely. They let you in fully, and when they do, you're not just a friend or partner, you're family. They'll fight for you, confide in you, and let you see the softer parts they guard from the rest of the world. That trust is sacred to them. But it's a rare treasure, earned through time, consistency, and deep emotional integrity. Break it once, and it may never return. But honor it, truly honor it, and you'll discover that even their darkest corners are carved from the same passion that fuels their brightest light. Life purpose: building a legacy of passion and meaning. At the heart of an Aries pig's existence is a burning, unshakable need to matter, not in the shallow sense of attention or applause, but in the most profoundly human way. They want to feel like their life has impact, that their presence, their efforts, their love left the world just a little brighter than it was before. Whether through art, leadership, family, innovation, or storytelling, they are always chasing legacy. Their motivation is deeply rooted in emotion, but guided by fire. They don't want to just exist, they want to ignite. To light something up in others that continues glowing long after they're gone. They don't do small dreams. That's not how they're wired. Aries pigs dream in color, in music, in movement. They imagine possibilities before others dare whisper them. Whether they're launching a startup, raising children, building a brand, or crafting their life's masterpiece through quieter means, they carry a sense of destiny. There's always an inner voice whispering, "You're meant for more." It pushes them, sometimes haunts them. They believe their life is supposed to stand for something, a message, a movement, a feeling that ripples outward. The idea of a forgettable life terrifies them. They'd rather fail spectacularly than live unnoticed. Because they invest so much of themselves into everything they do, failure cuts deep. When something they believe in collapses, whether it's a relationship, a creative project, or a business, it doesn't just sting their ego, it shakes their identity. They question not just their choices, but their worth. It's not about perfectionism, it's about potential. Wasted potential feels like wasted life to an Aries pig, but it's exactly in these dark, painful moments that their greatest magic emerges. After every heartbreak, every loss, every public or private crash, they rebuild. Stronger, more honest, more human. Resilience becomes their superpower. It's not just that they recover, it's how they evolve with each setback. They are creatures of reinvention. With every cycle of loss and renewal, they shed outdated skins and step into versions of themselves that feel closer to truth. One decade they may be chasing the high of visibility. The next, they may crave depth and solitude. Their life purpose is not static. It shifts, expands, deepens. And yet, the core never changes: create meaning. Leave something behind. Live with courage and conviction. They don't fear death as much as they fear irrelevance. So they keep moving forward, creating, loving, breaking, and rebuilding, like a wildfire that refuses to go out, even when the wind changes. Balance is their lifelong pursuit. The Aries within pushes for action, visibility, motion. Go, go, go. The pig yearns for emotional authenticity, connection, purpose. Together, these forces either make them wildly powerful or dangerously stretched. Learning when to lead versus when to listen, when to fight versus when to let go, this is the wisdom they gain slowly, and often through painful trial and error. Their journey teaches them that legacy isn't always built through noise. Sometimes it's formed in the quiet, sacred moments. A conversation, a sacrifice, a shift in someone else's life because of something they did, said, or stood for. Ultimately, their purpose is not just about what they build, it's about who they become while building it. Their life is a canvas of courage, color, failure, triumph, and transformation. The Aries pig's true mission isn't to impress. It's to awaken, to light a fire in others through the way they live. They may never fully know how far their ripple reaches, but if they lived with heart, led with soul, and stayed true to their burning need for meaning, then in the end, they'll have done what they were born to do. And that fire, it'll keep burning, even long after they've gone. So if you know an Aries born in the year of the pig, hold on tight. You're not dealing with someone ordinary, you're standing in the orbit of a rare fusion of fire and feeling. These individuals will test your patience, expand your thinking, and shake you out of complacency. One minute they'll dazzle you with charisma, the next they'll challenge everything you thought you knew about yourself. They don't do lukewarm. Their energy hits in waves, exciting, relentless, and yes, sometimes overwhelming. But if you're strong enough to stay, to meet them where they are, to grow alongside their evolving spirit, you'll witness something few ever get to: a human being lit from the inside by both passion and purpose. They will charm you in ways that feel cinematic. Conversations with them sparkle, not just with cleverness, but with presence. They're there, with you, fully engaged, listening between the words. They'll remember the smallest things you say, and casually use that knowledge later in ways that make your heart skip. Their charisma isn't rehearsed, it's instinctual. Aries gives them the confidence to speak their mind, the pig gives them the emotional radar to speak to your soul. And it's this mix, confidence paired with compassion, that leaves people hooked. Not because they're perfect, but because they make you feel something real. But let's be honest, they'll frustrate you, too. They're intense, demanding, emotionally layered, and sometimes hard to read. You'll wonder why they pulled away, why they snapped, why they seem invincible one day and quietly fragile the next. They don't always explain themselves, not because they don't want to, but because they often struggle to translate the storm inside. They live at a higher emotional volume than most people can process. They don't ask for perfection, but they do need depth, effort, and emotional courage. Shallow connection drains them, passive relationships bore them. They want something alive, even if it burns a little. Still, it's in the inspiration they give that their truest light shines. An Aries pig doesn't just talk about ideas, they move. They launch, they build, they leap. And if you're close to them, they'll drag you out of your comfort zone whether you like it or not. They believe in possibility the way some people believe in gravity, as a natural law. And they want you to believe in it too. They'll push you, sometimes relentlessly, to go after what sets your soul on fire. They don't just want company in their journey, they want co-dreamers. People who dare with them. Because when they rise, they want you to rise too. And if you are one of the rare few who is truly loved by them, cherished, chosen, trusted, you're in for something unforgettable. Their love isn't casual, it's not part-time or performative. It's primal, protective, fierce. They will believe in you harder than you believe in yourself. They will fight for you when you're tired, speak up for you when you're silent, and stand by you even when things get messy. This isn't the kind of love that fades with time. It's the kind that burns deeper with every year, through storms, through silence, through change. It's not always easy, but it's always real. So if one of these fire-hearted, soul-deep beings has chosen you, as a friend, a lover, a partner, a muse, don't take it lightly. You've been seen by someone who sees through the surface. You've been claimed by someone who rarely lets anyone all the way in. They'll hold you accountable, inspire your transformation, challenge your fears, and love you in a way that feels like both rebellion and salvation. And in a world full of shallow connection, that kind of love, that kind of person, is nothing short of sacred. If this resonated, you already know, there's so much more beneath the surface. Hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into the fascinating world of astrology and personality, and don't forget to explore the other videos linked in the description. Trust me, we're just getting started.